Hello everyone, welcome to my video, and thank you for those of you that are returning to my channel and those of you that are new. So we're going to dive right into it so I don't take up too much of your time. I'm going to post June's prediction and what happened in June, and then we're going to look at July. Stay tuned. Okay, there were 2 hits in June. You see the first hit is in the lead column, that's 589. That pattern hit on the 12th. Okay, as you look down at the calendar, the 12th is a high hitting interval, has a frequency of 45, and plus that interval did not hit in the previous month, which makes it a good candidate to hit in the current play month, which was June. You also see that 093, that hit. That's a number that I have been playing because it reminds me of a form that a very popular form that we all had to use when I was working. So that's why I was playing that very, very consistent and heavy. You see that 093, you see that 930, that's a duplicate. We know that duplicates hit. I think there was a duplicate on the list in May that didn't come out, but now there's a duplicate in June. It came out. So that was that 093. I think that 093 came out straight. Okay, and you see that 093 was from a high hitting column. You see that's the frequency of 47. That's a sum column. And you also see that that hit that came on the 12th, 589, came from the lead column, which is a high hitting column. Okay, you also look at the rows where you see the frequency 54, 49, 54, 35, the 930, and the 093 came from a high hitting row, which means that that 093 is an intercept number, so that came out. There's nothing spectacular about the 589 except for that it came from a high hitting column, and we know that high hitting columns, high hitting rows hit. But June was a very tough month. Now we may very well get another hit in June. This list is going to be posted before the evening drawing. For the midday drawing. Before the evening drawing. So if something come out in the evening, definitely make note of it. But you guess what? The hits came from the X patterns. In a tough month where there's a low hit rate for that particular month, you can guarantee you a hit is going to come from the X pattern. The X patterns will hit 99.9% of the time. So anyway, looking down at the calendar, you see the 12th was on a high hitting day, which was Monday. The program hit 28 times in June on a Monday. You also see the other hit came on the 22nd, which was the 093. That's a Thursday, and it hit 25 times on a Thursday. And there's nothing spectacular as far as the data on this play card that designate that will be a hit, except for the majority of hits really been coming from the 3rd and the 4th intervals, from the 15th to the 28th. That's where the majority of hits have been coming from. Okay, guys, now one other note, you see that 589 is also a number in sequence, and we know numbers in sequence hits. Okay, stay tuned. Let's put up the doubles and see what happened with the doubles in the month of June. Okay, guys, this is the doubles for June, and it produced 4 hits. Okay, basically 2 of the numbers came out twice. The 228 came out twice in different forms, and the 221 came out twice. A hit came out on the 6th, the 10th, the 15th, and the 16th. Now, you see over, when you look down at the calendar, you see the hit on the 15th and 16th came from a high hitting interval, which is interval 31. Guys, the doubles are a different type of animal. There may be a month or two where they don't hit, and then there's a month where it just lights up completely. It's a worthwhile list to complement the prior list that we just looked at. As you can see. Now, what's interesting is none of the hits came from the X pattern. Normally, with the doubles, the X pattern is consistent. But both of the lists, the list that we just looked at prior to this list and this double list, they both have similar characteristics, but they are different animals. And they have little idiosyncrasies that are very different that will come out as we continue to pursue this. But as you can see, 228, 228, 221 came out 2 times. There you have it. Now, last month I said well, at the beginning of the month I said that the double list hit more. That's in a box. When you play in box, it hits more than a single box hit. Alright guys, let's get into July. What I'm expecting for July, well, let's just get into it first. Okay guys, thank you for sticking with me. Here is July's listing. For those of you that have been following me, you kind of know what's going on here. And I'm going to go over this just for the sake of any new viewers. Okay, when you look at this, let's start at the top. You see the lead, mid, and summary. Okay, those are columns, and the number of times that those columns hit in the month of July is above that. That's the 35 for the lead, 48 for the mid, 35 for the end, 31 for the summary. If you look to your far left, you'll see some more numbers: 33, 35, 45, 36. Those are the rows. And those are the number of times the rows hit in the month of July. Okay, you see to the left of the rows, you see the word off. Anytime you see that, whether you see it at the column or the rows, it means that that row or column did not hit in the previous month. When you look to the far right, you see the key. I stands for intercept, H stands for high hitting pattern, which is not listed on this particular list. That's on my fault, but that's not a major indicator. R for repeat is R means repeat from the last month, meaning that the number was on last month's list. S means that a number in sequence. A number in sequence could be 2 numbers in sequence or 1 number in sequence. Duplicate means that the number appears on the list 2 times, and we know that duplicate numbers hit. We know that numbers in sequence hit. We know that repeat hits. Okay, when you see the red dot, that means that that pattern has not hit so far this year. And in 12 months, most patterns hit at least 3 times. Okay, so anyway, so when you direct your attention down to the bottom, you see the days of the week. Those are, and you see numbers above the days of the week: 20, 16, 28, 31, 22, 14, and 18. It just means that the program has hit that number of times in July. If you look to the far right, you'll see the intervals. You see frequencies 31, 38, 30, 99. It means that the program hit that number of times in that interval. And the interval is measured by a 7-day period starting with the 1st of the month. So from the 1st to the 7th is the first interval. The 8th through the 14th is the second interval. The 15th through the 21st is the third interval. The 22nd through the 28th is the fourth interval. I don't really pay too much attention from the 29th through the end of the month, because those intervals very rarely hit. They do hit, but they don't hit as much as the others. Okay, so let's get into this. Since we're on the calendars, let's look at the calendar. That first interval from the 1st through the 7th has not hit in 4 months. Now, last year, that interval was hitting every month. So I'm thinking that this 1st through the 7th that interval is due to hit. Just like the summary column had not hit, the SUM column had not hit in a number of months, and then in June, that 093 came out straight from the sum column, and that 093 was the X pattern. So my strat, I'm going to be playing that first. I always play the first interval. As a matter of fact, that's what I do. I always play the first interval. But I'm going to be paying particular attention to the first interval, and particularly of interest to those days that the program did not hit on last month. Saturday, with a frequency of 20, that has not hit in 2 months. That's going to be on my radar. The 16th is going to be on my radar. I know we got our high hitting frequencies there, 28, 31, 22. I'll be paying close attention to those, but as the month progresses, I'll be bringing all that in together. Okay. All right, let's move up to the top where you lead, mid, and summary. You guys know the drill that's been following me. You know, hits are going to come from the high-hitting columns. The high-hitting columns are circling in green. The high-hitting rows are circling green. We know that high-hitting columns and high-hitting rows produce a hit. We also know that you see where the X is drawn. The X just means the X pattern, aka hot hitting patterns. The program hits 99.9% of the time on those patterns that intercept the X numbers. And when I say pattern, for the new users, for numbers, okay? Each number that you see in a column, lead, mid, and summary, it's a separate algorithm that produces those numbers. That's why when a number appears twice, it's very rare that happens. But anyway, hits comes from the X pattern. So the X patterns are 958, 374, 907, 038, 436, 569, 987, 173. Now, a little tip. The right X pattern, axis, I gotta get it right, axis hits more than the left axis, meaning that 436, 589, that's 589. I have the display up kind of in a diagonal way, and I can't really see the numbers. But that 987 and that 173, those patterns hit far more than the left axis patterns. That's the left axis patterns are in your 958, your 374, your 907, and your 038. Now, where you see the red dot, that means that those patterns have not hit so far. All of the patterns hit multiple times in 12 months. So that 093 that came out was also a pattern that had not hit so far this year. So I'm going to be paying kind of close attention to that to see if any of those numbers stick out with me. For example, your intercept numbers. Your intercept numbers where you see the I and you see like 253, 374, 589. What else you see here is intercept 051. 987, 907, 173, 624, 451. Intercept numbers hit. Definitely. They do hit. They don't hit more than the X patterns numbers, but they do hit. So what sticks out to me is the 253. That number hits quite often, and that's one of the numbers where my relative house number is, and I noticed, hey, your number hit that number hits way, way, way above everybody else. So that's a number that I'm going to be paying attention to. And if it doesn't hit this month, if it appears on next month list, I'll play it. So in terms of intervals, like I said, I'll be playing the first interval. I'm going to play the third interval, the second interval. I'm going to play all through, because when you look at the high-hitting columns and high-hitting rows, you got 3 high-hitting columns, lead, mid, end. You got 3 high-hitting rows, 35, 45, and 36. You have last month that only produced 2 hits. This month can definitely produce at least 5 or 6 hits, I'm thinking. So I'll be very surprised if it doesn't. Very often, few that it will have a low hitting month. Okay, when there is a low hitting month like it was in June, where the algorithms only produce 2 hits, normally the following month it makes up for that and might produce 5 hits. So I'm expecting anywhere between 4 to 6 hits coming from this list in the month of July. And if it doesn't come, it doesn't come. But you know what? You got to reach for the sky. All right, so let's take a look at the doubles predictions for the month of July. Okay, guys, here's July's double list. There's not too much to this particular list. You know about the high-hitting columns. You know about the high-hitting rows. I will say that most of the hits normally come from the X pattern with the doubles, so that'd be a good strategy to play. So, thank you very much. I don't know what you guys... Oh, I got to give somebody props. I'd like to thank Gaines Wells for providing the thumbnail, the picture of the eagle for me. I had deleted a lot of my prior prediction videos because I was using art clips that I did not realize were not royal free. I thought that they were royal free. So he was kind enough to send me a picture of an eagle that he took. So I'd like to thank him for that. And I'll show you a little bit of his artwork and everything of that nature. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Okay, guys, I don't know what you guys are going to be doing for 4th of July, but I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be playing the Merlin Lottery because I'm Gary the Number Runner. God bless.